You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. Brian Kelly met with reporters on Thursday after the first media availability. And naturally, one of the things that you are going to ask about this team is replacing all the offensive production. Yes, look, you're losing the Heisman Trophy winner, 2 1,000-yard receivers, but it's not just Jayden and his ability to throw the football to Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, you know the drill. But, I mean, Jayden Daniels also was a 1,000-yard rusher for you this past season. So not only do you have to replace the yardage, but it's the yardage from the quarterback position. So just with that on its face alone, you are fundamentally going to look different because you will not have a quarterback that's capable of running for 1,000 yards. So Brian Kelly was asked about replacing Jayden Daniels' rushing production. He kind of took an interesting spin on it.
You can do it with, perimeter throws that Jayden gave us with perimeter runs. And you can do it not simply with the running backs, but how you use your offensive line. We think that we've got, if not one of the best, certainly one of the top offensive lines in the country. And they're athletic as well. We think our tackles can move and pull. So I think a run game that now becomes a lot more diversified in the sense that we can start moving and pulling our offensive linemen to create an offensive running game that strikes on a much wider front. I think certainly the running backs will play a part in this, but I think the focus needs to be much more on how the offensive line will play a much larger role in what we do to enhance our running game.
Consider the source there as well. Consider the source there as well. That's Brian Kelly, who, from the day he's hired, we have highlighted 2 positions that he has pumped into the NFL more than any other. Those 2 are tight end and offensive line. If Brian Kelly's telling me that, yes, I get it, you're replacing a quarterback that ran for 1,000 yards a year ago. As a matter of fact, it was 1,134. Let me not shortchange Jayden those extra 134 yards. Yes, and he's saying you're looking at it wrong. Yeah, our quarterback isn't going to be the guy getting those yards. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier has never been a running threat in his career. That's just not what he does. A year ago, Nussmeier had 1 rush for 1 yard. In his career, his rushing total, Garrett Nussmeier's, is, well, I believe he's I'm trying to look at his career log now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I pulled up his season stats. No, here, as a freshman, he ran 5 times for -46. Sophomore, 1 for -13. That was a sack. And then this year, 1 carry for 1 yard. So you're talking about a guy that in his career has rushed for a -58 yards. Garrett Nussmeier is not going to give you anything in the running game. That's okay. You don't need him to. Like, you don't have to have a quarterback that's a dynamic runner. It doesn't matter. But what Brian Kelly's saying there is because you have physical, athletic linemen, it's going to dynamically change how you run the ball. So whereas so much of Jayden's ability last year was when plays were breaking down, the 50-yard touchdown run against Florida. When a play is breaking down, he can be dynamic in that respect. Well, now think of it in terms of how you attack the running game. It doesn't have to be power or zone specific. You could pull linemen. It could be more creative in the way that you run to make up. And he even talked about the short passing game as an extension of the running game. So I think that's going to be the really interesting part to see how this all develops. Yes, I think so many of us, my hands in the air, I am fired up to see what it will look like if Caleb Williams gets 12 to 15 carries a game. Like, what is that going to look like with that dude? Josh Williams is coming back for another season, a 6th collegiate season, which, considering all the running back depth you lost this offseason, yes, having another veteran scholarship back there is impactful. We'll see what happens with Trey Holly and his legal situation. And then you have Caden Durham coming in, the freshman. So you should have enough talent, enough bodies, but it's going to be more so how they use it that I think is going to be really exciting. So interesting little tidbit there from Brian Kelly when he was asked specifically about Jayden Daniels, replacing Jayden Daniels' rushing offense. And he didn't talk about another back, another skill guy. He talked about the offensive line because it's going to be how they use them to create those running lanes that'll get LSU back on track. That's just one thing I don't worry about. And Brian Kelly has proven that if you have faith in his ability to recruit, develop at that position, like he has rewarded that faith. I mean, and hat tip Brad Davis. Brad Davis is the one who's there, grinding and developing those guys every day, and he's been magnificent recruiting also. But it's just very clear that what they're looking for, that Brian Kelly has targeted, has been successful, and they've been able to get massive production. So something they'll keep working on this spring and into fall camp. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.